She said it lightly, almost laughing. You shouldn't stay too long. But her hand didn't move from the edge of the table, where mine rested too close. I told myself to pull away. I didn't. The space between us was too still, too alive. The rain outside softened the street noise into something private, something meant only for the two of us. Her living room smelled faintly of rain-soaked jasmine, and the light, gold and slow, made her skin look like a secret I wasn't supposed to see. She was older, obviously. Not in a way that begged to be hidden, but in a way that carried calm authority, like she'd already lived through the storms I hadn't yet earned. Her voice was steady, but her thumb brushed the rim of her cup in small, restless circles. Every movement was careful, deliberate, except that one. "You're quiet tonight," she said. "I'm trying not to say something stupid." Her smile curved. "That's usually what people say right before they do." I wanted to laugh, but the sound caught halfway. There was too much inside the silence, too many things I couldn't name without breaking the spell. She leaned back, crossing her legs, eyes studying me the way a painter studies light. Not judgmental, not teasing. Just seeing. And it did something to me, made my chest feel both hollow and full. Her hair fell forward when she tilted her head. I almost reached out to fix it. Almost. Instead, I said, "You always make time stop like this?" "Only when I forget I should be careful," she said, not looking away. That line hung between us, soft and dangerous. The clock ticked once. Twice. Then nothing. Even the rain seemed to hesitate. I noticed small things. The faint scar near her wrist, the silver ring that didn't quite fit, the way her shoulders rose and fell as if she was bracing herself for something. She didn't need to say what it was. I already knew. "I shouldn't have asked you to come," she said quietly. "But you did." Her eyes flicked toward me, sharp, searching. "And you came." "I didn't want to." "Liar." The word wasn't cruel. It was almost tender. I laughed once, softly. "Maybe." She studied me for a long second, then leaned forward, just enough for me to feel her breath on my hand. I didn't move. I couldn't. "People will talk," she whispered. "They already do." "And you don't care?" I swallowed. "Not about that." For a moment, her face softened, something unguarded flickering through her eyes. Regret, maybe? Or longing? Or both? She exhaled slowly and stood, brushing invisible dust off her skirt. "You should go soon." "I know. But you won't." It wasn't a question. Her fingers grazed mine as she reached for my empty glass. Just a second, barely contact, but the touch ran through me like static. She must have felt it too. She froze mid-motion. Our eyes met again. Neither of us looked away this time. The world outside kept going, rain, cars, life, but in here, everything slowed. There was only her, standing too close, breathing the same air, saying nothing. Then, 3 soft knocks on the door. She turned her head sharply, her hand still half on mine. The air broke, fragile as glass. Her voice was steady when she finally spoke. "You should answer that." But she didn't move. Neither did I. And for one suspended heartbeat, both of us knew, whatever was waiting outside, it had already arrived inside long ago. The knock had stopped. Whoever it was had gone, but the silence it left behind pressed against us like a hand. She didn't look at me right away. She just stared at the door, lips parted slightly, breathing shallow. Then she exhaled, brushed her fingers through her hair, and said, almost to herself, "You shouldn't get used to this." "I'm not sure I could," I said, though even as I spoke, I knew it wasn't true. She turned to me, eyes tired but clear. "You think I don't know what this looks like? You hear me like this?" Her voice wasn't accusing. just weary. I wanted to tell her I didn't care what it looked like, but she was already walking away, setting the empty glass in the sink, pretending to be occupied. I watched the curve of her shoulders, strong, careful, hiding too much. "People always look for stories," she said, her back to me. "They'll see what they want." I leaned against the counter, trying not to stare, but failing. "And what do you see?" She hesitated, hand resting on the faucet. "Something I promised myself not to repeat." That was the first time she said anything about before, about whatever had made her so careful with touch, so quick to step back just when I thought she might stay. I'd heard things, small fragments from neighbors, that she'd been married once, briefly, that her husband left without much explanation. I never asked. But I could feel it in the way she moved, like someone who still expected the ground to give way under her. "I'm not him," I said quietly. Her eyes lifted, and for a second, she looked almost angry. "Don't say that. You don't even know what that means." "Then tell me." She didn't. Instead, she walked closer, slow, deliberate steps that felt heavier than they looked. She stopped just in front of me, close enough that the faint warmth of her breath touched my skin. "You're too young to understand what wanting costs," she said. Her words were steady, but her hand trembled when it brushed past mine on the counter. Not a full touch, just a passing graze that burned longer than it should have. I could have pulled away. She could have too. Neither of us did. "You keep saying I should go," I said. "But you don't really want that." Her eyes searched mine, and for the first time, she didn't hide. "You think you know what I want? I'm trying to." Her breath caught, not loudly, just enough that I noticed. She stepped closer again, close enough that the space between us stopped being space. "If we do this," she whispered, "you'll start looking for a version of me that doesn't exist. Maybe I already found her." Her lips parted, her expression flickering between disbelief and something dangerously close to longing. Then she reached out, fingertips brushing the side of my face, barely there, but enough to make time stop again. Neither of us spoke. The only sound was the rain returning, soft and rhythmic against the window. Her hand lingered, then slowly dropped, but her eyes didn't move from mine. For a moment, nothing else existed, not her warnings, not my restraint, not the difference between what we should and what we would. Just the quiet pull of two people standing too close, pretending they still had a choice. The rain had stopped, but the quiet that followed it was louder than before. She stood by the window, arms crossed, watching the light fade behind the buildings. I sat on the couch, pretending to look at my phone, pretending not to look at her. She turned suddenly. "You should go before anyone sees you leave this late." Her tone was calm, but her fingers fidgeted against her sleeve. I knew that move, the same one she made when she was trying to sound unaffected. "I told you," I said. "No one's looking." "That's what people think right before they're caught," she murmured. Before I could answer, her phone buzzed on the table. A name flashed across the screen. Clara. I'd seen that name before, once on a photo frame turned face down in her hallway. She froze, just for a moment, then silenced the phone and placed its screen down. "Your daughter?" I asked quietly. She hesitated. "You shouldn't ask that." "Because I already know the answer?" Her eyes lifted to mine, sharp, then soft. "Because it's not your problem to know." Something cracked between us then, not loud but deep. I stood. The space felt suddenly too small, the air too thick. She didn't move when I walked closer. Just watched. The lines around her eyes tightened, like she was bracing for something she didn't want to admit she wanted. "You think this is just a mistake waiting to happen," I said. "Isn't it?" "Maybe. But it's still happening." Her breath hitched, a tiny, involuntary sound that said more than she ever would. I stopped just in front of her. The scent of her, warm, clean, faintly floral, pulled me closer than sense allowed. My hand lifted halfway before I caught myself. Her gaze followed the movement, then flicked to my mouth. Just once. Then back up. "Don't," she whispered. "I'm not." "Yes, you are." I smiled faintly. "Then stop me." She didn't. The silence between us grew taut, each second stretching too long. Her hand rose, slow, unsure, until her fingertips brushed the edge of my collar. Not to fix it. Just to touch. The air shifted. Every thought I'd tried to suppress rose all at once. I could feel the warmth of her through the inches that still separated us. And then, a sound. The front door handle rattled. She jumped back instinctively. I turned toward it. The knob twisted once, then stopped. "Clara?" she called out, her voice too steady to be real. No answer. Just silence. Then the sound of retreating footsteps. She exhaled, one hand on her chest. God! She must have forgotten something. I took a step toward her, lowering my voice. "She didn't see, no." A pause. "But she could have." We both knew that was worse. She turned away, pressing her palms to the windowpane. "This can't happen again." But when I stepped behind her, close enough that my breath reached the back of her neck, she didn't move away. Her reflection in the glass showed her eyes closing slowly, her body leaning, just slightly, back toward me. "I know," I whispered. "Then tell me to go." She didn't answer. And in that silence, we both knew neither of us would. She didn't speak for a long time after that night. 2 days, maybe 3. Long enough for the silence itself to feel like punishment. When she finally called, her voice was clipped, almost businesslike. "Can you come by?" "Just for a minute." Just for a minute. That's how every bad decision starts. When I got there, she was already pacing. The window was open this time, curtains shifting in the late evening breeze. She looked like she hadn't slept, hair pinned up loosely, sleeves rolled, eyes sharp but unsteady. "You shouldn't have come," she said. "You asked me to. That was a mistake." I stepped closer. "You keep saying that, but you keep doing it." Her breath faltered. "Do you think this is easy for me? I think you want it to be." She turned, quick, defensive. "Don't you dare tell me what I want." The anger in her voice wasn't about me. It was about every rule she'd been breaking quietly since the first time I showed up at her door. I should have backed off. I didn't. "You called," I said softly. "You could have ignored me." She looked away, jaw tightening. "I tried." Something in her voice, that small tremor, undid all the space we'd been pretending to keep. I moved closer, close enough that her shoulder brushed my chest when she turned again. "Stop looking at me like that," she whispered. "Like what?" "Like you see something worth breaking for." I smiled faintly, the kind of smile that hurt. "Maybe I do." Her breath caught again. Then quieter. "You're too young to understand what comes after. Then show me." Her hand twitched, half reaching, half withdrawing. "You don't know what you're asking for. I know what I'm standing in front of." She closed her eyes, exhaled slowly, like she was letting go of something she'd been holding too long. When she opened them again, she wasn't guarded anymore. "You remind me of how it used to feel," she said, voice trembling. "Before I started choosing what was safe." Her confession landed between us like heat. I didn't move. Couldn't. The air shifted. The night felt smaller. She reached up, brushed a strand of hair from her face, and my hand moved before my mind caught up, fingertips grazing hers, then resting against her cheek. Her skin was warm, softer than I'd imagined. She leaned into the touch, just slightly. barely there, but enough to make my pulse trip. "I can't keep doing this," she said, though she didn't pull away. "Then stop me." Her eyes lifted to mine. There was no distance left to hide behind. Just breath and heartbeat and everything unspoken. The wind caught the curtain behind her, cool air sweeping between us, carrying her scent, jasmine and something human, real, afraid. Her hand came up to my chest, resting over my heartbeat, not pushing me back. Feeling it, matching her breath to mine. "Say something," I whispered. She looked at my mouth, then back at my eyes. "If I say it," she said, voice barely there, "we won't come back from it." I took one small step closer. "Then say it anyway." For a suspended second, the world narrowed to just that, the tremble in her fingers, the taste of air between us, the certainty of what came next. Her lips parted. And then, a voice from outside calling her name. Her whole body went still. The sound came again, closer this time. She closed her eyes, whispered, "Don't move." I didn't. Neither of us breathed. The voice outside faded, but the damage was done. Whatever had been building between us, heat, honesty, surrender, snapped back into tension. She moved first, stepping away so quickly her hand brushed the edge of the table and nearly sent her glass spilling. The sound of it wobbling on the wood was louder than it should have been. "Who was that?" I asked. She didn't answer. She went to the window, pulled the curtain slightly, and whispered, "It's him." "Who?" She turned slowly, her face caught halfway between fear and something else. Resignation, maybe. "Clara's father." I blinked. You thought he was gone." "He was. Until now." The way she said it, flat, final, told me everything she didn't want to. Her ex-husband. The ghost I'd been quietly competing with without knowing it. "He knows I'm still in the house," she said. "He shouldn't be here. And if he sees me," her eyes darted to me sharp, "then everything you think this is ends tonight." I wanted to ask what this even meant. I wanted her to name it, to stop pretending it was nothing. But her hands were trembling now, barely noticeable, but real. She stepped closer, lowering her voice. "You need to go. Please." The word, "please," broke something open in me. "You're shaking," I said quietly. "I'm fine." "No, you're not." She turned her face away, but I reached out anyway, fingertips brushing the inside of her wrist. Her pulse jumped under my touch. "Don't," she said, but didn't pull away. Her body was tense, every muscle on alert, but her eyes betrayed her, glassy, conflicted, searching mine for something she couldn't ask for out loud. "He still has a key," she whispered suddenly. "If he comes in, then he'll see me," I said. Her breath caught, her lips parting slightly. "And then what?" I didn't answer. For a moment, neither of us moved. The house was too quiet. My hand slid from her wrist to her palm, fingers curling instinctively around hers. Her hand was cold, but she didn't let go. "You should have told me," I said. "I didn't know how. You should have trusted me." Her eyes met mine again, sharp now, defensive. "Trust? You think this is about trust? What else could it be?" Her voice broke, softer now. "It's about survival." That word hung heavy between us. Something in me twisted, want and guilt colliding all at once. I wanted to protect her, but I also wanted her to stop pretending I was something temporary. "Say you don't want me here," I said. Her lips parted. No sound came. "Say it," I pressed. She shook her head once, a small, helpless motion. "I can't." Outside, a car door slammed. Both our heads turned toward the sound. She flinched, stepping back, but her hand stayed caught in mine for one last second before she pulled free. Her voice was a whisper now. "If you stay, he'll see. If you leave, I'll follow you." Her words hit like static, electric, irreversible. Then, from the hall, the metallic click of a key sliding into the lock. We froze. Her eyes met mine, wide, terrified, wanting. And for the first time, she didn't tell me to run. The sound of the key turning was louder than thunder. She went rigid, eyes locked on the door, breath shallow. I could hear her heartbeat in the silence between us, fast, uneven, matching mine. The door didn't open right away. Whoever was on the other side hesitated, then the sound faded, footsteps receding down the hall. But neither of us moved. We just stood there, the air thick with everything we hadn't said. Her lips parted, but the words never came. When she finally spoke, her voice was low, almost breaking. "You need to go before I do something I can't undo." I took one step closer. "You already did." She flinched, not from the words, but from how close I was. Inches. Maybe less. "You don't understand," she said. "This isn't fair to you." "I don't want fair." Her hand came up between us, maybe to push me away, maybe to stop herself. But when her palm met my chest, she didn't push. She just left it there. Her skin was warm. The heat of her hand spread through me like a pulse. "You'll regret this," she whispered. "Then I'll regret it with you." Her laugh came out as a breath, barely a sound. Her eyes glistened, not tears, but that dangerous shine people get when they stop pretending. I reached up, brushed a loose strand of hair from her face. She didn't move, didn't breathe, didn't look away. My fingertips grazed her cheekbone, traced the corner of her jaw. She leaned into the touch without meaning to, her eyes fluttering closed. "Why are you doing this to me?" she asked softly. "I'm not. I'm just here." Her hand slid higher, curling into the fabric of my shirt. I could feel the tremor in her fingers. Every rule, every reason, every warning she'd built between us was dissolving right there, in the space where her breath met my skin. She opened her eyes. "If we start this, I know. We don't get to take it back." I nodded. Her lips trembled. For a heartbeat, neither of us moved. Just the hum of electricity in the air, the faint smell of rain, the ticking of a clock that suddenly mattered too much. Then she stepped forward, closing what was left of the distance. Our foreheads touched first, soft, tentative. Her breath mixed with mine. "I'm scared," she said. "So am I." The words hung there, naked, unguarded, real. Her hand rose to the back of my neck, fingers tracing the line of my hair. I could feel the question between us, the gravity of it. She tilted her head slightly, eyes on mine. "This will change everything," she whispered. "Maybe that's the point." Her smile was small, almost sad. "You really don't know what you're doing, do you?" "Maybe not," I said. "But I know what I want." And for the first time, she didn't argue. She closed her eyes. Our noses brushed. Every inch of the world narrowed to that space. One breath, one heartbeat, one impossible choice. Her lips barely touched mine. Not a kiss, not yet. Just a tremor of possibility. Then she pulled back, breathless. "I can't," she said. But her voice shook, and her hand stayed where it was, still clutching me like she might never let go. We stood there, suspended in the aftermath of almost. When she finally spoke again, her voice was softer, steadier. "Now you understand," she said. And I did. Wanting her was never the hardest part. Letting her go would be. Morning found us both still in the same room, not tangled, not reckless, just there. The window was open, letting in the kind of light that forgives things said too late and undone too soon. Neither of us had slept. She sat on the couch, knees drawn up slightly, hair loose, wearing the quiet like armor. I stood by the counter, 2 cups of coffee between us, both gone cold. "So this is it?" I asked finally. Her eyes lifted. "You make it sound like an ending, isn't it?" She looked at me for a long time, the kind of look that strips away pretense. "I've spent most of my life doing what looked right to everyone else," she said. "It never felt right to me." I moved closer, careful, like stepping into someone's gravity field. "Then what do you want now?" Her answer came slow, deliberate. "Something real, even if it's complicated." That was her version of yes. I sat beside her. The couch dipped, our knees brushed, and all that unspoken tension that had carried us this far softened into something gentler, not need, but understanding. She turned toward me. "You know people won't get it." "I know." "And you don't care?" I smiled faintly. "I care that you do." Her lips curved, just barely. Then she reached out, fingers tracing the back of my hand before slipping between mine. The touch was light, hesitant, but it stayed. "Clara called," she said after a moment. "She wants to visit this weekend. Will she know about us?" "She'll know something's changed," she said. "She's smarter than she lets on." I nodded. "Then maybe that's okay." We sat there, the silence no longer sharp but calm, like a tide finally settling. Her thumb brushed over my knuckles in slow circles, and I felt her exhale, a small, steady release, like she'd been holding her breath for months. "You're still scared," I said. "Of course I am." "Me too," she smiled. "Good. That means we're not pretending anymore." The clock ticked, soft and steady. Outside, the city was already awake, but in here, the world had shrunk to the rhythm of our breathing. She leaned her head against my shoulder, not dramatic, not fragile, just human. My arm slid around her almost automatically, and she let herself settle there. For the first time, she wasn't pulling away. Her voice came quiet against my shirt. "You stayed. I told you I would." She tilted her head up slightly, just enough for her forehead to rest against mine. "You make it sound easy. Maybe it doesn't have to be hard," I said. She smiled against me, small, tired, but real. And for once, there was no guilt in the closeness, no rush to explain what this was. It was 2 people finally standing still, neither one pretending they didn't want to be there. We stayed like that, her breathing evening out, my hand still wrapped around hers, until the morning light stretched across the room and made everything look new again. Maybe the world outside would question it. Maybe it wouldn't last forever. But for now, it was enough. And for both of us, enough finally felt like everything. Did you enjoy the story? What kind of stories would you like to hear next?